My name's Gary Henshaw. I am the current chair of the Measurement Quality Division, and I'm very happy to help host this webinar today. This is the first webinar our division is doing for the year, and I think it's been a while since we did one, so it's kind of exciting. I will introduce our speaker once I find my words I was going to say, but I may not see them. So our speaker today, I'll ad lib. Our speaker today is Marietta Joleen Watson, goes by Joleen, and um, Joleen is the student branch advisor at the University of Central Missouri. The student chapter there is under the, or part of, affiliated with the Kansas City section, and the Kansas City section is also co-sponsoring this event. Just kind of an FYI, as people are still getting on, I'll say that every fall, University of Central Missouri puts on an outstanding conference, student conference, and I was happy to be able to attend this last year. Anyone that is in driving distance, I'd encourage you to look into that. We can send you information on it, but it's a really, really good conference, very professionally done. But back to Joleen. Joleen has been with UCM for a number of years, and I'm not sure how long, but she can tell you about it. And I wanted to say too that this is a the same presentation session that was given at the Measurement Quality Division's fall conference last year in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, last October. And I asked if she would be willing to present it on a webinar, and we are there now. So without further ado, Joleen, I'll let you take the stage.
Oh, thank you for that lovely introduction. So I do teach in the industrial management and technology master's programs at the University of Central Missouri. And my background, as far as education, I have a bachelor's in biology and then technology management master's and PhD. Um, I have worked in multiple fields. Before I came into education, I was an industrial trainer. So that's just a little bit about my background. So what I really feel a connection with the metrology career path here because um, it's kind of similar. I've gone many different widening paths to get to where I am, and we'll talk about how you can wind through metrology too. So I just had someone ask if my name used to be Byerline. It was. So my husband and I, we've been married for decades, but we never just for laziness, just never changed the name. But once I got my PhD, I said, let me go ahead and change that last name. So I have been either an advisor or co-advisor for the student branch for 10 years now. So if you did know me before, it's still me, still the same person, just went from Byerline to Watson. All right, so if you have not taken your screenshot of this, go ahead and take your screenshot to get your recertification units. That was one of the tips in the chat, is that if you take a screenshot of this, you can turn it in as your documentation. And I'll go ahead and get started. So first, I want to give you a little bit of easy trivia. What are the two pieces of data that Google Maps needs in order to give you directions? It asks you to input two pieces of data. What are those two pieces of data? Yeah, where are you going? Where are you going and where are you now? And Google Maps, without that information, Google Maps can't determine any usable information. You have to know where do you want to go, and you have to know where are you starting from. But once you go ahead and type those in, Google is able to give you multiple paths to get to your destination. The same goes for career mapping. You have to ask yourself, where do you want to go and where are you starting from? Otherwise, you're not able to figure out how to get there. So today, the plan is for me to help guide you through the three most important things. Where do you want to go? Where are you starting from? And then drawing your map. So to figure out where you're going to go, we're going to take a 30,000-foot view of metrology and see how metrology is categorized, classified, and what's the career outlook. So there's three different types of metrology: scientific, legal, and industrial or applied. And I know several of you are rolling your eyes saying, oh my gosh, I already know this. But it's really important to mention because a lot of times these individual categories get busy doing their own thing and they totally forget about the existence of the other two. So scientific metrology focuses on developing new systems of measurement and standardizing existing ones. Workers in scientific metrology are almost always employed by government agencies such as the BIPM, NIST, and the UKRI. Legal metrology is concerned with regulating measurements and measuring instruments. They protect public safety, environment, and fair trade. And they also mostly work for government agencies such as this alphabet soup that we have on your screen there. Industrial metrology applies the principles of measurement science to manufacturing. Most of your metrology workers have jobs in this section where they test new products for private companies, such as the ones listed here, as well as a few of them working for government. So this is probably where most of you are. So I do have a question in the chat that one person is not able to see their screen. Is anyone else able to see the screen? And if so, that means they'll need to check their settings. Okay. So Damon, please check your settings. Other folks can see. So hopefully you'll be able to work that out. I can't help you. Can't help you, promise. All right. So classifying metrology jobs is kind of hard. So you see, I say metrology careers classified, sort of. It's difficult because the field has a wide variety of skills, education levels, and positions. Also, metrology workers with similar job descriptions may have different titles. It completely depends on the industry and sometimes even just the individual employer. In 2010, the USBLS received petitions to create more metrology-related job classifications. Some of the people in this chat may have been involved with those petitions. But the SOCPC considered the suggestions and they decided it would not create specific metrology occupations because metrology functions are performed by workers in several occupations and not as their primary activity. They did review and modify the definitions for other related occupations to clarify coverage of metrology and calibration skills. The 2018 SOC system has two categories that specifically mention careers in metrology, both falling under engineering. Under miscellaneous engineers, you can find metrologist as an example, and then there's a category for calibration technologists and technicians. So what does that mean for your career mapping? On the positive side, since they themselves say that many jobs include aspects of metrology, your metrology skills are transferable to a wide array of jobs, and you can take multiple paths to that ideal destination. Unfortunately, though, to fully leverage this, you're going to have to be creative in your job searches because they won't have uniform job titles. And you'll need to be able to showcase your skills on your resume rather than just relying on this universally accepted job description. The metrology industry has advanced significantly over the past years, and that's not going to change with the ongoing push towards Industry 4.0. Metrology professionals who are flexible and embrace change can find opportunities in providing smaller precision manufactured parts, inline measurements, faster inspection cycle time, improved throughput, tighter tolerances, accuracy, repeatability, better environmental control, and the solutions that are easier to learn, use, understand, and assess so that anyone can do it. Anyone on the line, anyone out there. You don't need a specific professional for every single function. And the future of metrology is going to be powered by algorithms feeding on digitized data. Metrology professionals can find opportunities in the collection, quality, management, and analysis of data. The industry is leaning towards virtual measurement solutions with zero physical testing and machine learning algorithms that are going to implement those corrective actions with minimal or zero input from a user. So you may not be the person that's going to be implementing those corrective actions, but you could be the person that works the robot that does that corrective action. On top of this technology and digitization, customer demands and expectations keep increasing. Any one of you who are working, you already know this. The industry needs professionals who can deliver speed, personalization, quality, reliability, durability, safety, and of course, all at lower costs. So what's the career outlook in a nutshell? It's super positive, very positive. Metrology is dynamic, it's growing, and with the mass retirements of an aging workforce, there is a severe and growing shortage of skilled metrologists across the globe. As people travel along their route in metrology related jobs, they're also picking up all these transferable skills that they can leverage into a wide array of new opportunities. It is an exciting field to be a part of. So now that we finished the 30,000 foot view of metrology, the next step is to determine your search criteria. And this is where it gets considerably more difficult. What are you searching for? What is this ideal job that you're going to have that's going to make all this grinding worth it? Whether or not something just popped into your mind right now, let's take a look at how you might decide where you're wanting to go. First, I ask you again, what are you searching for? And don't say money. It's not money. We're all stuck in this illusion that money is going to make us happy, but money is just a tool. It's not a goal. So you guys have probably done this exercise before. What are higher level motivators that come along with money? You tell me, when we say I want more money, what do we really want? Freedom, lovely. Peace, happiness, security, experiments, empowerment. Empowerment is a great one. Oh, see? Lovely. Yes. So we attribute those things to money, but it's not the money, right? It's what the money does for us and what comes with the money. So that's what I would ask you. Where is it you want to go? So I want you to take a minute on your own and think about, what is your search criteria? What are 5 things that you are looking for, right? And don't just start with compensation and benefits. Those are a base, right? Compensation and benefits, we need those. Those are important. They set the base. But what else gets you going? What is it that you really, really want to be a whole person at work and out of work? You can see here on this list, some of these you may look at them and you may say, oh, that's one of mine. And some of you may say, ugh. For example, fun. Fun can be very polarizing. Some people don't want a fun workplace. Some people are like, fun. Ugh, let's just get to work, right? I don't need pizza parties and high fives. They have a very bad perception of a fun workplace. And other people are like, oh, we must have fun, right? So, so this is a jumping off point, but it could be anything. So write it down and make it real. What are at least 5 things that you really need from your dream job? And I love that some of you are open enough to put it into the chat. That's probably very helpful for people to give ideas. Awesome. So if you're struggling with that, I encourage you to think about it. And 5 is just the beginning. You need a long list, right? So don't be that car that's had their blinker on for the past 5 exits and can't figure out where you want to go. Take action, write it down. And this is the search criteria that you are going to use for that ideal job destination. All right. So much good interaction. This is awesome. Okay. So I'm hoping I'm giving you a little time to think, right? A little time to breathe and think, and definitely read the chat comments. All right. So once you have your search criteria, right, for that ideal job destination, it's time to start creating your packing list, right? So we figured out where we want to figure out what we need. We need to know what we're going to pack, right? Is it flip-flops and swimsuits, or is it snow boots and a hat and warm hats, right? This is what do you need, okay? So this is your packing list. What do you need to pack? The job listing is your very first place that you should go to figure out what you're going to need what you're going to need for this to pack for this trip. So obviously you've got your little list here, and then you have to do so much work to find the job and the company that you want to go to, because you need to find the job that you're wanting and the environment that you want and the culture that you want and all those things, especially because many of you have a lot of things that are culture driven. So once you find that place and you find that job and the one that's going to do what you need to do, you can start looking at that job listing. Job listings such as this one that I just found on the internet. This was just a Google search. I have no relationship with this company or anything, but I found this on the internet for a metrology engineer. They all follow a fairly generalized format, and it starts with an interview. Don't or interview overview. Don't sleep on those overviews. Out of everything they could have possibly put, out of every single vision, mission, goal, process, product, everything. These are the handful of things that the company uses to describe this job. This is truly the essence of what they're looking for in a candidate. Because what we tend to do is skip to the bullet points. We skip to the job duties. And the job duties are important, but definitely don't overlook that overview. But next, you do look at the job duties. While all of these are important, they're generally listed in order of importance. Think about what they are, what order they're in, and what's not there. Also think about what's worded or how it's worded. So for in this listing, for example, it is telling you indirectly that your job duties are including being driven to succeed and enjoying your job. Can you find what's the wording on this job listing duty list that tells you that you need to enjoy your job and be driven to succeed? And it's in the way they worded it. Oh, everybody's a little shy. Okay, that's all right. It's simple. Instead of just saying job listing and then having job duties. So the job listing had the overview, and then here it never said job duties. Instead of job duties, it says what you can look forward to accomplishing. Now you've got it. What you can look forward to accomplishing. That is says so much about the job. It says so much about the culture. It says so much about the position. They didn't put job duties. They said what you can look forward to accomplishing. That indirectly says that part of your job is to enjoy your job and be driven. So sometimes it's what it says, what it doesn't say, and how they say it. Next, you have the skills and experiences. Most of these will be fairly self-explanatory, but you're going to really need to think about how you are going to verify them. What sets people apart is how they can prove, how they can quantify. So things like self-starter with a strong work ethic, you'll see as 4 down, that is not as easy to measure as experience operating a laser tracker. That's something you're going to have to figure out. What do you put in your resume that quantifies that and shows that? Of course, you can say, I'm a self-starter with a strong work ethic, but the people who can quantify it and show it are the ones that will get those positions. So the job listing, that's just a jumping off point. Find out everything you can about the organization. The rest of the website is a treasure trove of information about who they are and who you need to be to work there. And this is just the website. Every single tab has a little nugget if you look at it critically. This particular website, it even tells you who else works there, and it gives you insights to who they are professionally. Google search everything. Google search the company, the employees, and their supply chains. And then you can use this information to get a clear job of what you need to pack, a clear idea of what you need to pack to get this ideal job. So next, move to benchmarking. I don't know if any of you noticed, but there was a very, very important piece of information missing from that previous slide. If you think you know what it is, go ahead and put it in the chat box. Job listings leave out. Those are all good. Those are all good. Keep going. Job listings sometimes leave out what they consider to be obvious duties and requirements. The problem is it's not always obvious to everyone. In the metrology career example we just saw, that those are some good ones. It didn't tell you anything about the education. Oh, perfect timing, Becky. It didn't tell you anything about the education requirements. Of course, that one's going to be the one that sticks out to me because I work in education, right? It doesn't say anything about education requirements. Now, you and I both know that doesn't mean that they're going to hire a metrology engineer that doesn't have a high school diploma or GED, right? But do I need a bachelor's degree? In what? What about a master's degree? What about certifications? We have no clue. So a good way to get an idea of what the job listing is lacking or taking for granted is to benchmark with other jobs of the same or similar titles. This can give you a more cumulative and holistic view of what your ideal job listing leaves out of their duties and requirements. And this would also help for compensation, years of experience, and then location you can get from the website to see which all the locations are. So this same thing, for me, it was education that stuck out, and this benchmarking would work for all those other points too. Next, look at the people who currently hold your ideal job title. Oh, and just take a step back. One of the reasons that they probably don't include education in that particular job listing is because if you look at all of the descriptions of the people who work there, they've all been working there for decades. They've worked their way up from base and then worked their way up through the organization, which is why they are probably very experience oriented rather than education oriented. That's just a hint of the culture from what you could read from that website. Okay, back to where we are. um, so these are some of the people that are metrology engineers out there in LinkedIn. So if that's what you want to do, you want to look at what are these people doing? What are they into? What's making them great at their jobs? Are they finding happiness in the way that you hope this job will bring happiness to you? If so, use them as a benchmark for your own professional profile and your own professional growth. So after you've done all that work, which we go through it really quickly, but obviously this isn't something we can do in an hour, right? This is just the instructions page, then we have to do the steps. But after you have put all this work in defining your search parameters and making your packing list, you know where you want to go. Now we need to look at that second vital piece of information to create your career path. And that's where are you starting from? All right, take a moment. I need you all to stop thinking for just a minute. Take a deep breath. Now approach this question with love and appreciation. Most of you are probably quality professionals, so I am speaking to you, to your hearts. This is not a search for defects, okay? Not a search for defects. Look around at where you are, where you're starting from, and realize, hey, this place is pretty nice, okay? Now give yourself a little hug and write down everything that you currently have going for you. What are the positive points in your personality, skills, interests, values, experience, knowledge, and abilities? Write them down. Nothing is too small or too abstract. All right? Don't just sit there with your hazard lights on, blinking, saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Write down all those reasons that any employer would be happy to have you. And the list is probably way bigger than you think it is, right? That is what you need that. And I would like you to go ahead and do that. So this is something that you start with yourself, and then you go outwards. You figure out what you're good at. You can look at what you have gotten good responses are. What did you do well on in school? What do you get praised for at work? What do you, or if you're not in that kind of environment, what do you not get in trouble for at work? If no one ever comments on your precision and you're in a place that doesn't really compliment, then you're good at that. So while you guys are thinking, I have been an industrial trainer in many, many, many different industries because I'm able to carry over working with people, abstractly seeing, being able to understand people's abstract vision of what you're trying to teach them, things like that, right? So you may be too shy to put it in the comments. That's okay. But you definitely need to be able to put it down on a piece of paper in front of you. But if you're sitting there thinking about how you don't have anything going for you, then you need some mentors, because those mentors will help you figure out what that is. Because just like Google, if you don't know where you are, you can't figure out where you're going. It's just not possible. And so we have been, some of us, especially of a certain age, have been taught to not talk well of ourselves. But on a resume, that's the whole point of a resume, to talk well of yourself, and an interview to talk well of yourself. So you need to be able to do that, right? Okay. So now that you can assess what all of this, where you're starting from, what you have going for you, right? All of this, um, all of these intangible things that you see on the list, such as, I've already forgotten what it said. I think it said being a good team, being a team player. So things like if you see in your job descriptions, being a team player, being a self-starter, being adaptable, all those things, right? If you're able to put that down as one of your qualities and quantify it, that's how you know you're absolutely sure of where you're starting from. Okay. So now that we're feeling good, now that we're feeling good about ourselves, feeling confident, we know where we are, we know where we're going. Now let's draw the map. So what do you need to get from where you are now to where you're going? Okay? What education do you need? Now, you may think that I'm going to sell classes all the time, but that's not right for everyone, and that's not right for every skill that's needed. There are so many avenues to learning. Be creative in seeking out ways to get the knowledge that you need. Document and verify as you go, especially if you're using less conventional avenues for education. So, for example, this one is, a webinar, seminar. Take notes. If you have, if you want, if someone wants you to prove that you're a lifelong learner, then you can do those kinds of things. If someone wants to, if you want to know, if they want to know what your skills are as a mentor or what you have done to become a better mentor, these kinds of things, because now you can take this information and you can help other people's with their career pathing and things like that. Document, take notes, and that way you can justify it if it comes up on a comes up in an interview that you do have this education. Okay. And then experience. You may not be able to jump directly into that ideal job from where you are right now, but that's okay. We've already talked about how super versatile metrology skills are. So lucky to be a metrologist, right? If it would be in this field, because this cumulative field, this cumulative experience of what you have in metrology gives you the experience you need to go to all kinds of different directions. What you're seeing here is just a piece. I couldn't get the entire web on one slide. This is just a chunk of a career path. So I think people are talking to each other in here. So I'm gonna, if you have any questions at the end, I'll go back to them. But I think there's people in the chat talking to each other rather than asking me questions. So I'm gonna leave that for now. We might come back to it. So you have all these different options and all this different stuff that you can pull from, all these different knowledge, skills, and abilities that you can pull from. Find the path that you want, map it from where you are to where you want to go, and then map it again from where you want to go to where you are. You're going to find very different perspectives going both ways. And then finally work on your relationships. And this is the one that is difficult. This is the one that a lot of times is the thing that people just can't quite fit this piece into their puzzle, but it's something you can work on. Don't try to travel the path alone. Learn about ways to improve your networking, mentoring, menteeing, communication, marketing, and relationship building. This one, I have a request to go back to that slide. I can move on while that's still on that slide. So work on those relationships. One of the best things that ever happened in my life was right out of school. Right out of school, I went to a sales job. Now, that might resonate with a lot of people here, but the sales job obviously was miserable. I didn't stay in sales. So I'm not a salesperson because I didn't stay there. But the marketing classes they gave me were some of the best education I've ever had in my life. And I never would have taken marketing classes if I hadn't had that job for a little while. So marketing, don't skip on marketing. Don't sleep on the marketing. It is so good. So remember, you are the driver and the navigator of your journey. No more wandering around, right? You are the one that gets to decide where you want to go and the path you're going to take there. Happy traveling. So, well, there's so much good information in the chat, and I'll leave it open to questions and answers, but I really encourage everyone here who, hey, there's one of my students. I knew they'd come. I encourage you all to ask each other. And any question that is asked right now, please everyone answer it. There is no better, I firmly believe in this slide right here. Yes, you can get a copy of the slides, and they are also recording. The quality management division is also recording this, and I'm okay with how it went. So, so if you want a recording of it, you can talk to Gary. All right, so it looks like it's going to take me a minute. I'm about to zip through the slides back to the cover slide for someone. If you have sensitivity to flashing lights, I am about to flash through the slides very quickly. And if you're wondering, doesn't she just know how to go to slide 1? No, I don't. There we go. So I will tell you all that a lot of times we go to presentations like this and we get excited and we get pumped up. But the most important thing you can do is write down what you are good at. If you didn't write anything down, if you weren't able to write anything down, that is the thing that's holding you back. I don't want to be brutally honest, but you are holding yourself back. Okay? You are holding yourself back. Please get some mentors, get some professional support around you. And I will also say that, especially if you are in the US, sometimes that's not going to be the people you work with. Sometimes that's not going to be your bosses. Your bosses sometimes can't tell you the brutal truth for various reasons. Your bosses and your coworkers can't always tell you the brutal truth. Okay. So get some people from outside too, professional organizations like this. Great places to look for friends and mentors that will be honest with you because they have nothing to lose. That's the best relationships. And I know that some of you were asking, so, Gary, if you want to talk a little bit, there is a certifications through ASQ that are metrology specific. And
Yes.
yeah,
I think maybe the closest one would be the CCT. And I got to confess that I am not the most knowledgeable on that, but we probably have someone else that could share some information on that. Um, I've been involved in the metrology area, or I should say, measurement quality division, just for a few years. And it interested me because of the importance to the job that I have as a lab manager in an ISO 17025 accredited lab. Measurements, accurate measurements is so important in our work. But I would encourage you to please, write to me. I put my information in the chat. If you didn't pick up on that, we can share you. Thank you, Tim, for sharing what CCT stands for. I was afraid I'd say it wrong if I did. We actually have the body of knowledge through our division for the CCT. But if you'd like information on anything that relates to this, you can write to me. It's GHINSHAW at memberleader.asq.org. And I'll be sure and put you in touch with anyone that in our leadership team, if I can't answer your question myself. We have some time allotted for additional questions. I'm a novice at doing a webinar, so I imagine there is a way that I could, yes, I can do that, Anthony.
I did it
I
for you,
think I could,
Gary.
oh, thank you. Thanks, Jolene. I can probably figure out how to unmute someone if you want to say, to ask a question rather than in the chat, if you raise your hand. I've always heard that you can do that when I'm on the other end, so I will see if you anybody wants to. Otherwise, please just put your questions in the chat. I'll be honest, I don't know if we have a Q&A window available because I'm not seeing it. But if you just put a question in the chat, and
So
Jolene, I think you're
AJ
reading the
has a
questions.
question. AJ has
Yes.
a question, and I think it is absolutely fair. He's asking, is it fair to ask if a position is currently unavailable? They cannot give you, of course, they cannot give you personal information, but it's nice to know if someone like worked on themselves and got promoted and moved up and out. The way they answer that sometimes gives you huge clues as to the culture of it. If they're bitter Betties about someone moving up and out, that's a red flag, right? If or if they sigh and say, "Oh gosh, this position is we've hired and 5 people have left," another red flag, right? It is a fair question. You aren't always going to get an honest answer. But like if something happened, they're not going to be able to tell you that the last person was fired because they had poor performance and their name was Tom. You're not going to get like a very specific answer, but it is a very fair question. And if they are angry at that question or they want to dodge that question, that has nothing to do with you. That has something to do with, again, red flags.
Good
So
comment from Iris. I think it's fair because it can also be a brand new position, and this is interesting to know.
So George has a question that is out of my wheelhouse. So he wants to know what is the most widely spread, like what is the most bang for your buck as far as having to learn, I've lost it, measurement equipment. So I would say that for me, now other people can answer that who are more mm, uh, knowledgeable about that. But my answer is going to be, what do you like? It doesn't matter if the most popular one is, if it's something that you hate, you're not going to um, you're not going to like it. So for example, for me, for like teaching, the easiest place to get a job is teaching elementary school kids. And I substitute taught way back in the day for elementary school kids. And it was miserable. So anything that is just the most popular or the one that is the best, for example. Um, First of all, if you think about the life cycle of a product, that is also something that might be going out of style. If it's the one that everybody is using, very likely it could be something that is on the verge of the end of its product life cycle too. So stay flexible. Other people can answer that with a more specific answer, but whatever they say, make sure it's something you enjoy or you're not going to succeed, and make sure that it's something that is at least either very sustainable or something that you can or just stay flexible and keep learning. And then another question is, share good calibration software that are in the industry. So it looks like, what I'm surprised at, it looks like there's a lot of people who are not in metrology yet, and they're looking for ins. So again, I would go back to kind of the instructions on the slide. Start looking at metrology job descriptions. When you look at those metrology job descriptions and you start seeing things that show up over and over and over again and things that you're interested in, that's where to go.
I would also say if you are a member of ASQ and you have access to my ASQ, um, then you can certainly put questions in there. Um, if you're a member of our division already, then you can put the questions in on our community page. If you're not, but you're a member of ASQ, then I would encourage you to join Measurement Quality Division if you have an interest in learning more about this area. We have some real experts on our leadership team. Um, I I have the mug. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just going to show it. I have the mug here, and it's backwards, I imagine. But I am not really a metrologist, but I do have the mug uh, from Morehouse. Um, and we have some really, really smart people, though, in metrology. If you want to get involved and learn more about this, please just reach out. We have people that have been doing this. They're in pretty much their entire career, one way or the other. And we have some people that are fairly new. I see a lot of people that were on the chat that are involved in our leadership team, and I'm sure some of those would be able to help you. I saw Andrew Hooper on. Uh, I saw Iris Yashin on. I saw Dan Stezik, who is our advisor. I'm sure there's other people that are on. We have Tom Petrosella that is showing up as the MQD host. I believe that's Tom. We have actual living and breathing metrologists. So I would just say, um, if you have an interest in science, in math, tinkering with things, so many different just curious and want to learn more, those are all important qualities. Um, I think that a lot of times those that have to learn metrology, that was not what they set out career wise. It's just something that is really important in the type of work that they do.
So I did have a question from, I have a question earlier that said, how do you find mentors? And for that fact, how do you find mentees? So what I used to do is, I fell out of the habit now. I feel bad even bringing it up because I don't do it as much as I used to. You have everyone's names here, right? And someone asks, how do I find a mentor? And then someone, Andrew Hooper, said, please reach out to me for any questions. I'm available. And he gave his contact info. That's how you find mentors. That's how you find
Thanks, Andrew.
mentees. I used to come to these things, and obviously I would get a lot out of the material, but I would also write down everyone's name that I could catch, and I would go to LinkedIn, right? Because LinkedIn is very, it's not intrusive. So I would go to LinkedIn, see if anyone was on there, and say, hey, I saw that you came to the Career Paths and Quality Metrology conference seminar. We kind of have the same interests. Would you like to connect? And I would have probably a 60% um, uh, approval, like a 60% success rate with that on LinkedIn, because nobody minds getting a request for being connected to on LinkedIn. And then if you send them the message that you're in the same kind of organization and you actually have a reason to talk to them, most of the time they'll connect with you. And I have a strong, I stepped away from it, but I had a strong LinkedIn group because of that. Um, and it really, really helped. I had people coming to me, I had people I could come to for help. I had people coming to me for help. And then people coming to me for help in this particular thing, I can say, I don't know, but I can connect you to someone who does know. And that is incredibly powerful. That is one of those people skills that makes you a hero. I won't name names, but there's a girl that I met in ASQ, and she didn't really know much about ASQ. She didn't know much about quality, but she surely knew how to connect people, and that shot her up through the ranks so quickly, just by that skill alone. So put yourself out there. Sometimes people will hurt your feelings, but more people will not hurt your feelings than the people that do.
Yeah, I would say this is, as I mentioned, co-hosted by the Kansas City section. Kansas City section has a group site on LinkedIn. If you just search for it, I think you should be able to find it. Kansas City section, I think the number is 1301, but you'll find people there that can certainly connect you. And also, we have just recently started a site for the measurement quality division. It's set up a little differently as a company type organization, but we can host things there, and certainly you should be able to post questions there. And then, of course, my own name, if you search for Gary Hinshaw, Hinshaw, and find me, I'll be happy to connect with you and get you in touch with people that can probably answer your questions better than I can. But you've got Jolene's name there, and I encourage you just to reach out, and before you know it, you'll have all kinds of connections.
If I've missed any questions, please repeat them because we got like 4 minutes left, I believe. And for everyone who has put thank you, I saw it. Thank you so much for your kind words, and you are definitely welcome. This was fun. I cannot tell you how amazing it is to be in a place with so much interaction. This has just been lovely, lovely. So so happy to see all of y'all connecting to each other because, as a speaker, that's like the best thing, to see everyone interacting with each other as much as you interact with me. It's lovely. So thank you for this. Thank you for this chance to getting to talk to you. It was so much fun.
Again, I saw a question. If you take a screenshot with your name on the page, you can use that for 0.1 recertification units or ASQ.
So I do have a question about the most effective ways to go through marketing. I would say if you're not going to be a marketing professional, find something inexpensive such as Udemy or something like that, and just find a marketing 101, or go to a local university if you have one, and just try to audit. If you audit a course, it's very inexpensive. And YouTube. YouTube is, YouTube should have put me out of a job a long time ago. But there are lots and lots and lots of YouTube videos that you can watch on marketing yourself or just marketing in general. I thoroughly hope that you look at the ones that's just marketing in general, because it really gives you a lens as to how people make purchases and make decisions. But don't spend a lot of money on it. There's lots and lots of marketing stuff out there that you can look for. Just, check out some of that stuff and find the one that's best for you, because we all learn different ways. We all like different things, but anything that is about self-marketing or just marketing in general and inexpensive, start there. And then when you find things that really speak to you, you'll find avenues that are best for you to go from there. And I bet if you go to your own workplace, they have free trainings for your salespeople. Ask in your sales department if you can have access to the trainings for sales and marketing. They'll probably let you have it because they already bought the license for it.
Well, we had this reserved for a little bit more time. If anyone had, a final question,
Okay.
they're just, really want to ask, and just give a couple more minutes if that's okay with you, Joleen.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know if
fine.
you have the time.
I was trying to power through it to get it done at exactly one. So
I think I set it up so we'd have some time after 1 o'clock Central, another 15 minutes, but we don't have to
okay.
stay on that long. But I didn't want to feel like we have to cut people off. If there are more questions,
All right.
I'm going to take a moment to put in a plug for Measurement Quality Division. We will be having a conference hosting a conference in September in the Akron, Ohio area. This will be the third year that we've had a conference there. And watch for information through ASQ, through emails, or just write to me. We are currently developing the program for that. And it's September 17th and 18th. We will have some really outstanding education opportunities for training on tutorials. And then September 19th and 20th will be our conference itself. And I'd encourage you to attend if you can. I think if you are a student, we will be offering a discounted rate for students. Interesting fact is that Joleen brought a group of students to that conference actually last year and the year before. So, and they got a lot out of this, I'm sure, from everything that I heard. Just opening up your eyes to more, interest in quality, and especially in this field that is growing. But again, watch for that. And we do plan on having some additional webinars this year. It's still a little bit new to me, but I think this has gone really well, and I really appreciate Joleen's willingness to give this presentation today. I think it's been a really good one. Lots of great interaction and comments. And I think we got up to 290 at one point attendees.
Wow.
So thank you so much. I'm excited about this.
That's wonderful. And if you're here because you're interested in metrology, you know what, this presentation is something for everyone. I've found working in master's programs that I have students that, of course, I get the 18-year-olds sometimes, but I've had students that are as old as probably 55 who have come back, have had long careers and then come back to kind of break through that next level with a master's or things like that, or have come back to school even as undergrads after a long time. And this particular method works no matter where you are. If you are a metrology engineer right now or a metrologist, there's nothing stopping you from using this same exact pattern to find the next step. And if you're now looking into metrology, because metrology, again, has such a positive career outlook, it also works for people just coming in now. That list of your skills may be very, very long and very, very intricate. And it all could also just be the fact that you are detail oriented, you are precise, you don't make mistakes, you have no problems working alone. If you have those kinds of skills, sometimes that makes you a really good technician. And, the best technician in the business is sometimes paid more than a project manager. So, there is nothing indicating success except for what you write down as what you're looking for.
All right. Last call for questions. If you put them in the chat, if you've already done it, we may not see them, but if you've got any other questions, I'm going to give a couple of minutes here, and and then I think we'll close, and we will have this recorded, available one way or the other. We'll figure out how. So
One last thing, I did see, I saw people asking for more sessions. I would encourage you to contact, this one was put on by ASQ Kansas City and the Metrology Division. Whatever section or whatever professional, like, what are those called? Whatever group you're in ASQ, talk to the leadership. They are desperate for you to let them know what you're looking for. They're open for suggestions. Make sure you let them know exactly what you're wanting to see. And they have huge connections of people that they can put together to make those kinds of things happen.
someone wrote technical communities.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes.
From the Kansas City section, which I believe is Heather. Well, we have two Heathers there. I'm not quite sure which Heather it is, or it could be someone else. But yeah, technical communities. And I'm just thinking that at the student conference last year, they had set up this really interesting display. Oh, thank you, Heather. Yeah, Heather McCain. Yes, many of you probably know Heather. And so they had this display showing all the different technical divisions or communities within ASQ. Someone else has put in there. We also have the geographical communities. This is from Tammy with section 1312. In our division, we have people that are active in a number of different geographical divisions. And so you can be involved in about as many things as you want to and have time for. A few restrictions, you can't be, an officer in more than one thing at a time. But if you want to be involved in a, some kind of a volunteer role, a big role, a small role, whatever it may be, ask, and I'm sure you'll find some opportunities. And that being said, watch through ASQ for a new, I don't know what they call it, a new app perhaps, but for volunteering, there some people are asking about mentoring. And this is a new system that is being rolled out, I think, right now for volunteering and asking for opportunities to volunteer, as well as maybe saying where some of the needs are. So I am finding out about it more here in the next few weeks, and I'm sure if you stay tuned, you'll hear more about it soon. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Joleen, so much. I'm really glad for the interest shown here, and it's been very positive. So we will write to us one way or the other, Joleen, myself. We will provide you a copy of the slides. Thank you.